Hello, peeps. Welcome back. In my sweater today, it's officially sweater weather. That's a Saturday Night Live reference. For those of you that don't know, it was a little skit they did. It was pretty funny. There's something about this time of year, all of a sudden it's like hot, hot, hot. And then one day you go out in the backyard and it is cold in the morning and you're like, whoa, it all changed. And right now, I noticed it the other day and my daughter came in to work and said, Mom, the leaves on the trees are changing outside the gate and it's so beautiful. So we're probably going to take a couple of pictures out there and take advantage of the beautiful trees changing leaves. And pretty soon they'll be bare. And then, the holidays are here. Which leads me to today's episode of how you can set up a successful, healthy holiday. And I know I talk about this every year, but I think it just bears repeating because we have new listeners coming on. And also, I just think it's good to have a refresher of, some things that because we've grown up in these toxic relationships, these holidays completely set us back sometimes and just take us back to these like really crazy times. And so we have to remind ourselves to get as much peace as possible. We don't always have to do things the way that they've always been done traditionally if it's been done in a unhealthy way. So that's what this episode is going to be about, is just some things to set you up for success. When we hit these holidays, I know all of a sudden it was like I was talking to my oldest, Ariel, and we were like, oh, we're going down south to see them and the grandkids. And it's also my granddaughter's birthday right before Thanksgiving. And she started talking yesterday about, we have to plan. What are we having afternoon dinner for Thanksgiving? Are we having dinner? They have to go over to my son-in-law's relatives for another thing that night. And so we're already trying to schedule all the things. And sometimes that just creates like stress. And so we both stopped and said, you know what, we'll talk about it later, like later on next week before we come down, we'll talk about it and kind of get a game plan going so that we know everybody has a part so that it doesn't fall on one person. And here's the thing that I just want to reiterate again today, because I know a lot of you UnMothereds deal with moms that are difficult, dysfunctional, family members, that kind of thing. Today, I'm just going to concentrate on the moms, though, because I know that, we can get into a whole conversation about different relatives that just really stress us out. And maybe there's like one or two people, but I feel like the majority of the people on my private community talk about their moms and how stressful it is with their moms. And the majority of people in my UnMothered deal with this on a daily basis. And so I think, having this conversation will help. And also I think it'll just help to not let them feel alone. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about the narcissistic tendency mom. I'm going to be doing a podcast episode really quickly here. I probably have 95% of the people that join the UnMothered community say that they have a narcissistic mom. But I've been reading this book where it's said that you actually have to be diagnosed as a narcissist. So I know that that's like a huge buzzword right now where people are like, my mom's a narcissist, my husband's a narcissist, my dad, blah, blah, blah. What I would say is they probably have narcissistic qualities. And so we're just going to focus on that today during the holidays when you have a mom who kind of sucks all the attention. They love the spotlight. And what better time for them than when the holidays hit? They have a big audience to be able to pull from. It can be exhausting and it makes us angry. And and it makes us just an angry mess of ourselves. And so we don't want to create bad habits in ourselves and show our, our family, our kids, our husband, maybe his family. We don't want to have a complete meltdown and then have, these tendencies continue, and then us creating bad habits because we're reacting off of their reactions, and it just creates this snowball of a mess. And so I want to remind us to not create bad habits for ourselves, but let's create good boundaries and put a complete stop to allowing them to come into our home and make a mess of everything. That's really the goal. And we do that with love. So always, always my biggest thing is I don't want you to ever think that when we set boundaries or we have to create new habits that we're doing it out of anger or revenge or bitterness or something like that. It is something that is healthy. And I think that is the biggest thing to take away from when you are creating new habits with family members, moms that are difficult at best, and at worst, like being narcissistic and really being dangerous and very, very unhealthy. And so there are differences. I've said this before. Some family members are just difficult, and they're not someone who's just going to toe the line and they like to kind of raise ruckus a little bit, or they're just irritating. That's just family. That's not a reason for you to like take a stand and, cause a big scene yourself of like, you never listen and you're so irritating. The things that I talk about with moms that are highly dysfunctional are people that come in and actually stir the pot where everybody is upset or crying, and everyone is just like off kilter because of the one person. And they do it on purpose because they don't know any better, probably because that's what they've grown up in. What I have really been focusing on with my coaching clients and things like that is that, and the passion that I have that God has placed in my heart is that it has to stop with us. We have to be able to go to this place of knowing that if we're going to create new families, breaking generational dysfunction, we have to stop allowing these bad habits to continue. And they're highly bad. They're worse than bad habits. So like I said, if somebody's just kind of irritating and you're like, ugh, they kind of bug me, that's different. But if somebody's coming in and like making your kids cry, my mom made my kids cry. She came in drunk. Like she came in like a wrecking ball. And so that's a whole different thing. And so you have to recognize which thing that is. If somebody's just kind of like, they're kind of getting under your skin a little bit, we can handle that. That's family. It's holidays. People are stressed, whatever. Know the difference, first of all. So that's going to make your holiday better. Know coming into it, if you're the one hosting, know that if Aunt Judy just always wants her hot coffee and just bugs you, like we're supposed to have coffee at the end of dinner, not at the beginning of dinner. Does it matter? No. Make the pot of coffee. Have it ready for her. Like there are things we can do to make our life easier and their life happier. So why wouldn't we do that? But talking about dysfunctional mothers during the holidays, that's what I really want to concentrate on today. And the first thing that you have to remember is that they're going to pull the I'm your mom and you have to respect and honor me. That's the first thing they're going to pull as soon as they start doing something that is not honoring to you. And I had this conversation with a client recently, and my response back to that misguided verse that they all quote in the Bible, like you're supposed to honor your mother and father, is that the respect and the honor has to be a two-way street. It can't just be coming from you. You can't be the one rolling over and saying, I need to honor them, so therefore they can just say whatever to me and do whatever to me. No. If you read more verses in the Bible, if you read books in the Bible, there are a lot of things where, it specifically says that you also have to be honoring, that you also have to be loving, that you also have to use your words carefully, or don't say anything mean at all if you're going to say something. So I think that is a piece of where it's always missing, especially with abused kids or children or adult children that have grown up in these dysfunctional families, is that we're constantly the ones bowing down and bending over backwards to make everything okay because we think that that's the right thing to do. But that's actually not helping the bigger cause. So just wanted to point that out, is that, you know, if you're in that kind of situation, you have to understand that it's a two-way street. They have to respect your boundaries, you have to respect theirs. Then you can create this holiday season where we know the rules and we know where the boundary line is, and then it could be a little bit easier. It's probably not going to be 100% because, you know, they have narcissistic qualities. The other thing is well-meaning people, and if someone hasn't grown up with a highly toxic or narcissistic parent, especially a mom, they're never going to understand what we have gone through. And some friends or family will always make you walk back into the abuse, and that helps no one. They're going to be like, oh, it's your mom. You just need to let her come and do whatever she wants. And that's easy to say when you've never grown up in that situation and you don't know every little thing that's going on inside the house. So be careful about giving fix it kind of advice to someone that you haven't walked through that kind of abuse with them, with that parent. The main thing that I wanted my children to grow up with was I wanted them to know that I never wanted them to be in a situation where it was extremely violent, physical, or highly verbal abuse. And that was the one thing, is when my mom came through the door, she really wanted to verbally start abusing with her words. And my children didn't grow up hearing those kind of things. And so they were just like, what? Why is she being so mean? Or why is she saying those things? That is not okay when you're trying to create this beautiful holiday season. First of all, Thanksgiving is about giving thanks, not about trying to, you know, put out fires. And then Christmas is about Jesus's birth and this beautiful blessing. Like, we're supposed to be thankful for both of these holidays. And yet, you know, when you have this abusive mom that's coming in and, you know, screaming at everyone or drunk and breaking things or things like that, that's not okay. And that doesn't create like a good habit for moving forward and showing your kids what this holiday season actually is. And so I think that that was always an absolute no in my life. As soon as she started doing those things, it was like, I have to stick to my formula of what I want my new family, this new generation coming up. What do I want that to look like? And I always did that with love. I didn't come back at her screaming. It was, you know what? This isn't working. So let's make a new game plan. So when the holidays hit, so does the stress. We know that. You got to take time to keep your mental health calm. You can't let your mom get under your skin. You have to find ways to take breaks from the hustle during this time. You can make a different plan this year. You don't have to keep doing the same things just because everyone's always done it or all the family does whatever. If you want to go away and do something different with your husband and your kids, please do that. Like, don't let traditions with dysfunctional family keep you from doing that. If they're like, we always have dinner over here and we have it at 5 o'clock and we have to do it on this day and with these people. No, you don't. And if you're a good mom on either side, you're going to understand that and know that traditions can be changed. They can shift. We've done that for a few holidays where sometimes we've had my adult kids and the grandkids. We went up to the snow one year, about 3 years ago, with our son-in-laws. Well, one wasn't a son-in-law yet. He was almost a son. He was actually proposing to Dominique that New Year's Eve. And we knew that. She didn't know that. So he came, my son-in-law, the grandkids, my husband and I, and it was a great time to just do something different and get away. We even brought a fake tree up and decorated a tree. It was really fun. And so I think you can create new traditions, especially if you have to if you have a mom that will just show up at your house even when you tell her no, then go somewhere else if you can. I know sometimes that's not possible, but if you can, even to just go somewhere for the day, maybe just go up to the mountains, go to the beach, go wherever, just go do something different to change things up and see if that's something that just calms you down and makes your family happy and also relaxes your family so that you guys can have fun doing that. As you've heard me talk before, you can go see your mom the next day or after the holidays, apart from your family gathering. That's something I had to do. And it actually was a gift for my mother because the stress of her being around Mike's family and the family that I was creating was so foreign to her. She actually created more crisis because she was so uncomfortable. So even though she pretended she was upset because I told her, I think I'm just not going to have you come to the dinners because I really feel like it's a lot for you. And she was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? But you could tell in her voice where she was like, yeah, it's a lot. And it was stressing her out. So she really didn't put up that much of a fight. When I finally got to a place where I was like, Mom, I'm going to come and bring you whatever leftover food we have from the day before. I'm going to come over. We'll do a whole nother little dinner with you, but you can't come in this big setting. It's too stressful for you. She showed up drunk 2 years in a row. And I'm like, 2 years in a row is too many. I'm not going to do it anymore. And I think that's a loving thing to do. There's no precedent that says, well, I just have to ignore that. That's just how my mom is. I'm just going to allow her to come in every single year and just destroy what I'm trying to rebuild. I already hated the holidays because of my childhood. I watched my parents fight physically and verbally. I saw the stress on her year after year after year. That was already in my body. That was already something that was stressing me out because of what I'd seen. So I didn't want to keep creating that with my family. And the only way you can do that is to clean the board, make a new plan, do some new things, go and see them separately, do something different. If they cannot respect what's going on in your home, it's just going to stress you out. It's going to stress them out. And nobody wins in that situation. This is also a time when you might benefit from therapy. You can go and maybe make a plan with your therapist. You can make alternate plans and work that out with a professional where they can show you how to do different things. I will say eating healthy, taking walks, getting a lot of sleep, deep breathing, do these things for yourself during the holidays because you already have a lot of past trauma from stuff that you've grown up with. So that rises up in your body when you hear the words Thanksgiving and Christmas, where some people have these beautiful, they have these beautiful memories of their childhood where they're like, it was my favorite time of year. I loved it. My kids love the holidays and I'm like, I'm so glad, but there's still a part of me where I'm a little oh, here we go again. And, I have no fear of anyone disrupting anything. It's just that my body remembers it. And I have to constantly tell myself, okay, calm down. This is a fun thing. You have grandkids now. You're safe. Cause it's kind of like that little girl in me is holidays are bad. They're stressful. And so, you have to remind yourself that take care of yourself first, and then you can deal with the mommy issues and things like that if you still have your mom around. There's another side to this too. If your mom is gone now, there can be a lot of sadness during that time. So that's another reason for you to take care of yourself during the holidays, is knowing that, there's some emotions that are going to come up through that. I know this year is going to be really hard because all my family is gone except for my sister and I. And so, not going over to see my dad, and things are just different. I have no parents anymore here on earth. And so that's a whole different thing that's going to kind of stress my body out a little bit. And so getting lots of rest, lots of rest, lots of timeouts, and just taking your time. Don't putting too much pressure on yourself to make everything perfect. I think that's a whole other thing that with narcissistic moms in particular, like they love to come over and make comments about your home and how you do things and make you feel inferior, and you can't allow that. Like you have to let them know, like, this is how I do it now, this is how our family is doing it. So we just have to find those restful moments or downtime to recharge ourselves. Be clear about what kind of rules that you want, boundaries, rules, whatever you want to call them, in your house. It will help you not have outbursts if you do have your mom coming over and she's going to get under your skin. There are things you can do to help yourself not react to the things that she's responding to you with. Of course, I'm going to tell you too, the biggest thing, of course, is to pray. Ask God to guide you during this time. Ask Him to give you peace, to show you the best path for things that will be less stressful. One thing I know for sure is even if it's hard right now, this isn't going to last forever. Like I just told you, this year I have no more family. And it's such a weird thing because you just always think you're going to have this situation, but someday it will not be like that. And so things won't last forever. So even though it feels like, oh my gosh, I've been dealing with this mom for the last 16 years, 20 years, someday it won't be like that. And so just keep that in mind, that if there's a way where you can just kind of soak in these moments with her, if you can. If you can't and you need to go no contact, that's okay too. Do what is good for you to be at your most peaceful, and also something that is going to drive your family to a healthier place in the future. Because when you don't have these parents around, you will already have these traditions set in place so that not everything will be such a big turn of events. And just do the best you can and have hope that God has more for you in the future. Always do things where you can feel peace about the decisions that you make. Don't do things in revenge. It will never sit well with you later, and it will destroy you. Don't do it because you're mad at them or you want to take revenge or bitterness out on them. You will regret it. So never do that. Do it out of love. When I went to my mom and told her, you cannot come over here anymore, I did that in a gentle voice and a loving voice. And I told her, I said, I don't think you're comfortable coming over here. And that's why you're reacting the way, that's why you're drinking before you're coming over. That's why you're doing, I called her out on those things and she didn't argue with me. She knew. Now, you may have a mom that's going to argue with you. You're going to have to find a way to communicate with her, but stick to your guns and say, well, you can disagree with me, but this is what I see. So find new ways, new traditions that don't include your mom if necessary. If you have to go no contact with her, it's just too hard and it's disrupting everything. You're just going to have to find new ways for new traditions. Take care of your body, mind, and soul. Get the rest you need so that you have lots of energy during this holiday season and you can remain happy and peaceful for your kids and your family. Spend time with friends and do fun things to remember, like, this is a happy time for you too. This doesn't just have to be a stressful time. Spend time each morning with God, thanking Him for the things that He has given you and asking Him to protect you from the things that are toxic. Ask Him to show you a good path every day. He will guide you into what you need to do at that moment, at that week, at that day. He will. He'll show, things will pop up where you'll go, oh, I didn't think about this before. Maybe this. He's gonna guide you. Don't continue negative thoughts about the holidays that we have learned in the past, but instead create fun, loving things so that your family has happy memories for years to come. I know that these things sound really simple and easy and like, oh, easier said than done. I have done this. So I'm not just, flapping my gums saying like, just be gentle, be nice, do this. I actually had to do this. And there were moments where, no, it didn't work. And there were moments where, yes, I did get frustrated, but I continued to stick to my guns about what I wanted my family to look like, what I wanted the holidays to look like, in spite of me being really like stressed out during the holidays. And these things worked. And so I'm telling you this because I have walked this line with my own mom. And yes, she had narcissistic qualities. She was not a narcissist alone. My mom was an alcoholic. I think she was bipolar. She definitely had manic depression. There was just a lot going on. She was emotionally immature. And that is a lot for a girl to grow up watching and seeing, and then having to relearn and reteach her kids something different. So I'm telling you, it can work. I am with you 100%. The holidays are hard, but find a way to make them peaceful. Ask God to show you something peaceful this year. I can guarantee you He will guide you to a better place if you start each day with Him, asking Him, what can we do this year that will be different? Or maybe she'll react differently. God willing, maybe she'll react differently. And if she doesn't, and it's a dangerous place and it's super toxic, you have permission to say, we're going to keep you out of this holiday season. So I hope these things helped you. I hope you have a beautiful holiday season and learn to just love the family you have. And remember that each year it brings something different. And so make it a really beautiful time. And until next time, I'll see you later, peeps. Bye.